How to play fingerstyle guitar, a step-by-step guide. What up, homies? My name is Richard Shepard. I'm the owner of the Heroes of Music Institute. Let's jump in. So what is fingerstyle guitar? Fingerstyle guitar is a technique where the player uses his fingers, rather than a pick, to pluck the strings of the guitar individually. This allows for intricate patterns, melodies, and bass lines to be played simultaneously, creating a textured and dynamic sound. Here are some examples. Some of the benefits of playing with your fingers are, one, you never have to buy a pick ever again, which I was constantly losing picks my entire life. And then I said, screw it. And I started playing with my fingers and I was like, this is wonderful. And number two, you really connect with the instrument on a visceral level. It's incredible. Like when you start playing with your fingers, it's a different experience. Okay. Now, playing with your fingers is fun if you give it your full attention, all right? So turn off the phone, when you're at the guitar, give it your all. Gear, okay, I recommend a nylon classical guitar. Now, this is not a traditional classical guitar. It's got a cutaway over here, but these are nylon strings. I really suggest you guys start with that type of guitar. It's a little bit easier on the fingers, so I would really strongly suggest you start with it. If you don't, that's okay. Use whatever you got. If it's an electric or a steel string guitar, doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you start. What I would suggest, if the strings are checked, you need to check what's called the action. The action is how far are the strings away from the fretboard. If they're too high, it might make playing fingerstyle very, very difficult. So take it to your local guitar shop and have their luthier bring the guitar strings closer to the fretboard, and also maybe try a lighter gauge of strings as well. And then the next thing you're gonna need, if you can, is some long fingernails on your right hand. Having long fingernails on your right hand, it's like having 5 permanent picks. I mean, it really helps shape your sound a lot by having long fingernails on your right hand. Not too long, or as long as you want, I don't care. On your fretting hand, you want to keep your nails nice and short. The other things I would recommend having: a little tuner, comfy chair, and a footstool, preferably. Which brings me to my next point, hand and body position. Now, if you see me sitting here, I'm sitting in what's known as the classical seated position. Okay, my left leg is raised and the tuning pegs are almost eye level with me. My shoulders are kind of form a T with the guitar. And my left arm bends at the elbow here. My right hand is going to be curving slightly. But this is the position that I play in. Now, I started out playing in this position. This is called the relaxed position. This is great too. This is fantastic. Both are great. The thing to look out for this one is letting the neck get too far away from you in the beginning, okay? You want to keep it close. Don't let it extend too far out away from you. Let's get started with the right hand. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna utilize the PIMA method. PIMA is used to identify the fingers of our right hand. P is gonna be for our thumb, I is for index, M is for middle, and A is for our ring finger. We utilize the pinky very little in fingerstyle, very little. Don't let your ego get carried away, and if you're saying to yourself, I'm gonna make my pinky so strong, that's your ego. Chill out, okay? Let's go. Now that you have those fingers identified, let's look at exercise number 1, and let's start with our first exercise utilizing our right hand. Once you're comfortable with that, pretty easy, right? Now let's look at exercise number 2. With this one, you want to make sure that your fingers are curling up into the palm. You should be thinking of your thumb kind of like in a rolling pin motion. You want to think east and west with the thumb, focusing on this knuckle, but the fingers should be coming into the hand. All right, left hand position. Left hand position. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you want to be bending. Your left arm should hang, bend at the elbow. This arch right there, that's what we want right there. That's a nice, healthy arch. You don't want too much of this action going on because it will hurt you down the line, if not right away. Your thumb will be somewhere in the middle of the neck, right in the middle. Somewhere between your first and second finger. It's going to be this is like your support for your left hand. Now, your fingers, you're going to want to arch them over the strings as much as possible, like nice little arches. Let's look at exercise number 3. Now, we're going to be utilizing both hands in this one. This one's a great one. My favorite is bar number 3, 3 and 7. I love that alternating. I love that. I love the sound of that. That one is a great little, that you're going to see a lot of that as you continue developing your skills in fingerstyle. Let's look at exercise number 4. Arpeggio with fingers. Now we're going to do a simple arpeggio using the C chord. Okay, and an arpeggio is just a broken up chord played one note at a time. Now we're going to be transitioning between chords here. We're going to be using the C and A minor chords for this exercise. Now these chords share two notes. They share the C and the E, and the only thing that's going to be changing is that low C, and we're going to shoot it up to that A. We're changing the G to an A. Okay, so for this example, in the first bar, we're going to repeat it twice. And then the second bar, we're also going to repeat that twice. And then the last 2 bars, we repeat together twice as well. Okay, let's go. Very cool. That bars 3 and 4, like you're switching between the one chord and the relative minor, C and A minor. You're going to see a lot of that in fingerstyle guitar. Identifying common tones when you're in fingerstyle is going to be very, very important as you continue to develop. The next exercise utilizes 4 chords out the gate, all right? So let's go. Beautiful. All right, great job. This is a fantastic day number 1, or however many days it took you to get through this video. That's fantastic. This is a lot. If you're relatively new to the guitar, this is a lot to unpack, all right? Take your time developing your skills here. Okay, so here are 3 common mistakes and how you should avoid. Number 1, not counting aloud, you know, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and count aloud, especially if you don't have a metronome with you. You really want to count aloud. If you want your notes to ring out evenly. So counting immediately helps develop your internal clock and makes the notes nice and even. Number 2, buzzing strings from improperly arched fingers. You'll hear things like this, like things like that. Your finger, or thudding, which means this kind of buzzing means your nail is getting in the way. And this kind of thudding, this kind of sound, that thudding means the flesh from a particular finger is rubbing against it. So you need to learn to arch it a little bit more. That comes with time. The third one is the biggest. When you're doing fingerstyle, because our chords are not moving as much as when we're strumming, it's very easy to use excessive pressure on your left hand. If you develop any kind of pain in the middle of your hand or in the wrist, you're squeezing too hard. Now, the muscles and tendons are getting used to squeezing the neck. That a little bit of uncomfortableness is going to be very typical in the beginning. But you want to look out for excessive pain. Listen to your body. You can injure yourself playing the guitar. Okay, how often should you practice? I highly suggest a minimum of 30 minutes every day. If you can't do every day, better than that is doing an hour 6 days a week. Play as much as you want beyond that. But if you're in the beginning stages, minimum 30, an hour, you'll see awesome results very quickly. Now, if you want to play more, go for it. But listen to your body. Listen to your body. If you start waking up with like unbearable pain, you're squeezing too hard, or tension in your shoulders or in your jaw or in your feet, that happens to me a lot. Evaluate. Listen to your body. Work with your body. Everyone's body and hands are different. So figure out what works best for you. But if you want to play more, go for it. Avoid cramming sessions at all costs. It's better to do a little bit over a period of days than to, try and do 5 hours in one day and then not touch the guitar for 2 weeks. Avoid cramming as much as possible. All right, here's a playlist of some new videos. Thanks so much for watching, guys. My name is Richard Shepard. I'm the owner of the Heroes of Music Institute. Stay great.